This is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Since 1966, your source for state and national agribusiness news and features for farmers and consumers about Georgia's #1 industry, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by the state's largest general farm organization, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now, here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Burgamy.
Hi there, come on in. Our home is your home as we welcome you to another edition of the Georgia Farm Monitor. I'm Ray DeLessio.
And I'm Kenny Burgamy. That's right, sit back and enjoy all the stories and information we're about to pass along to you. For instance, Cheryl White, whose love of cotton weaving is one of inspiration and sheer beauty. Also on the program, he was once a multi-million-dollar NFL star. But he left the game, not because of an injury, but to pursue a dream of becoming a farmer. See what Jason Brown is doing to help feed the hungry.
And speaking of feeding lots of people, maybe you're struggling to come up with a holiday recipe? Well, have no fear. Marcia Crowley has the answer for you in this month's Meals from the Field. All this and more starting right now on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Well, the 2014 cotton harvest is underway around Georgia, and the Monitor's Mark Wildman visited one farm in Cook County that depends on every family member to pitch in to make sure the crop gets harvested correctly and on time.
In Cook County, the Williams family is doing what they have always done, and that is gathering up the family and heading out in the fields. It's cotton harvest time, and that means every family member knows their job. Joey Williams grew up in these fields, raising crops side by side with his family.
Me and my dad farm together, Don Williams, and my mom, which is Pam Williams, she helps, pulls water. She basically does anything that we need done, and then she runs the stalk chopper. She's in charge of like the module crew, and then my wife, she pulls water, nurse tanks around, goes and gets anything we need, and she runs the bowl buggy. And kind of just anything that needs to be done, they can do. They can run pretty much any piece of equipment that we have.
This year has been a challenging year for the family's cotton crop.
Started out real wet when we was trying to get everything planted, and then about June it dried off, and we was in a severe drought for the rest of the season. Basically, it still hasn't rained measurable rainfall here. I mean, it's just been a real tough year. Cold conditions at the beginning and then real hot and dry conditions all during the year.
Still, as the picker rolls through the fields, the yields and quality are pretty good, thanks to advancements in the industry.
A lot of it's genetics and this new cotton that's a lot more drought tolerant and it's got a lot more giddy up. It don't give up. It'll just keep on hanging there until it gets a shower of rain and it can go and make a fruit. It's trying to make cotton.
Don Williams and family take pride, just like other family farms, in the way they run their operation, because every piece of fiber that leaves this farm represents their family name.
When you take the families and they go to doing it together, they take pride in what they're doing. They take it serious, and they do their best at that job. Where when you got a corporation and you hiring a pile of people, the way people are today, they don't take pride in what they're doing.
They all work hard all day long during the growing and harvesting season, but they do know when to shut down and relax.
We work till the dew falls and then we just quit because we ain't gonna get through tomorrow anyway, so might as well just make it easy on everybody.
Cotton farmers around Georgia are suffering from low prices. But the Williams family feels it could have been a lot worse.
It's been a tough year, but it ain't been the toughest year we ever went through. I mean, we went through a lot harder years than this. When you're used to getting, good prices for your stuff and making a good yield, it's hard when prices start going down. You really don't know what to do. I mean, if you don't know when to price it, when not to price it, because it can go up and you can leave money on the table, or it can go down and you lose a bunch of money. And I mean, if I knew everything in the future, I wouldn't be out here farming. I'd be sitting on the beach somewhere.
Reporting from Cook County, I'm Mark Wildman for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
All right, Mark, thank you very much. In other ag news now, all of us no doubt very happy that prices at the gas pump continue to remain under $3. Well, it's not the only fuel source holding steady. Prices for farm diesel are the lowest they've been in 4 years. According to Amanda Smith, an ag economist for UGA Extension, monthly prices for southern Atlantic states from 2011 until this year have ranged from a low of $3.13 a gallon to a high of $3.86 per gallon. Smith also found that the influx of prices change as the seasons change, with higher prices coming during the spring and fall and lower prices in summer and winter. Speaking of winter, that brutal barrage of snow that hit New York recently reportedly made a pretty big impact on the local dairy industry. With the majority of the roads blocked or iced over, a vast number of milk trucks were prevented from reaching their destination, meaning a number of dairies were forced to dump milk when trucks did not arrive. New York, by the way, is the fourth largest milk producing state behind California, Wisconsin, and Idaho. Meantime, cotton producers will have some very important decisions to make over the next year as they decide whether or not to participate in the new Stax program starting in 2015.
Damon Jones recently attended an informational session in Tifton and gives you some advice on how to make the best choice for your farm.
With the new Stax program going into effect next year, informational sessions like this one held on the University of Georgia Tifton campus are becoming increasingly important. That's why producers from around the state were in attendance to learn more about this plan that gives them more protection.
This seemed to be the best thing, and basically what it is to cover you in those shallow losses before you get down to crop insurance, which could make the difference in a successful year on the farm or maybe one that's not.
While the basic reason for this program is simple, the decisions farmers will have to make about which coverage option to choose will be anything but.
There are some decisions to make as far as whether you exclude your harvest price option, where you set your protection factor, where do you want your coverage level of Stax between the 70 and 90% band.
With next year's deadline quickly approaching, it's important for producers to start evaluating their options when it comes to which type of coverage they want to choose, as each farm is different. And with so many different factors to take into account, it's good that there are so many resources out there to help aid their decision.
In the past, a lot of these decisions have been fairly cookie cutter, and now they're highly detailed. There's a lot of dials and levers that can be moved, and so I think one of the things they're going to have to do is look at these resources that are out there, some of these decision aids and decision tools, and also talk with their local FSA, their local extension, and their insurance agent to see what's going to work best for their risk profile and their individual operation.
You know, there are a lot of decision-making tools that are available. They're available on our website, georgiacottoncommission.org. Some of them are pretty deep, and you're going to have to spend some time on it, but each farmer is going to have to look at his numbers and make his own decisions.
One of the main questions for the producer is just how much protection will Stax provide? And the main component to this answer is how the estimated yields will be determined in the individual counties.
So we're not looking at NASS data, we're looking at RMA data, what they have on their file on their computers. And then RMA is looking at a yield trend. So they're looking at what's the trend, what's the historical trend within that county. Or they can look at the higher of the 5-year Olympic average. So if you take 5 years, you drop the high, drop the low, do the average then. Whichever of those yields is higher is the one that's going to be used for Stax.
And with so much information, it's important for the farmer to learn as much about this new program and not rush their decision, because the wrong one could impact their operation for the foreseeable future.
Take your time making these decisions, because for crop insurance, it's a 1-year decision. You can come back next year and make a different decision. On the FSA side, it's a 5-year irrevocable decision. You're going to be stuck with PLC or ARC, whichever one you choose on those specific commodities.
Reporting from Tifton, I'm Damon Jones for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Well, still to come on the Monitor, meet a woman who continues to weave cotton the old-fashioned way.
But first, when the show continues, it's time to put on that apron, break out your favorite seasonings, and start cooking that Christmas meal. That's right, a Christmas feast that will make your relatives want to stay longer. Not sure if that's a good recipe or a recipe for disaster. That's next when the Georgia Farm Monitor continues. Okay, let me just start by saying, yes, we realize Christmas is still less than a month away. Still got plenty of time, but we want you to be prepared for whoever guest you have coming to your house this holiday season. So we are cooking up some great ideas today. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Georgia Farm Monitor and to another edition of Meals from the Field. We are back in the Georgia Grown Kitchen after being at Sunbelt Expo last month. She is back as well. My good friend, the one, the only, Marcia Crowley, Senior Home Economist for the Georgia Department of Agriculture. And we mentioned we're doing Christmas ideas today.
We're doing Christmas ideas.
Something that you have been making for a long time.
This is my go-to holiday meal, and I think it's one that people don't make enough because they're intimidated by it. But it's a standing rib roast, which is a very expensive cut of meat, but you can find it on sale, especially around Christmas time. And you need to allow about a half a pound of meat per person that you're going to be serving. And you generously salt and pepper the roast. This is a 2-pounder, which is a small one, obviously, but you can get whatever size you need. They're really good left over, and you cook it to a rare temperature so you can reheat it. Okay, like I said, you allow about a half a pound per person. You're going to preheat your oven to 450. Once you get ready to put the roast in, you turn it down to 325 and you bake it for about 20 minutes per pound until the internal temperature is 130.
130, okay.
And then you let it rest, so the temperature will continue to go up. That would be medium rare.
Okay.
Okay?
And don't do what I do. Don't crank up the heat in your oven hoping that it would cook quicker.
No.
Because that never works.
No, it never works. All right, so we're going to put that in the oven because we do have a luncheon in here after this show.
All right.
And I always serve with that a horseradish sauce.
Nice.
That's optional. And that's like probably a half a cup of sour cream. And I really don't have a recipe for this. It's just to taste, depending on how much horseradish you like. This is about a tablespoon of horseradish. And I usually add just a little bit of mayonnaise just to kind of offset. It makes it a little creamier. Here, you want to stir that up?
Sure.
Right? There you go. And you can make that ahead of time, as much as 2 days ahead of time, so you don't have to worry about that on your holiday meal. It looks pretty good.
That looks really good.
That looks really good. Smells good. Got enough horseradish
Oh,
in it.
yeah. No, I don't know, because I'm not, I
You're
like the
not crying. You
horseradish
like to
when
cry.
it's, oh yeah, I like to cry. I like to just shed tears all over the place with my horseradish.
All right, then the next thing is a twice-baked potato. And to me, these are easier to prepare. They take a little more time up front, but the timing is much better. A baked potato could take anywhere from an hour to an hour and 10 minutes, and then the rest of your meal is running behind. So if you do these ahead, it only takes them like 20 minutes in the oven.
Okay.
All right, we're going to cut off the very top part of an already baked potato. I'm going to slice my hand with that.
Don't do that, please.
Then you're going to scoop this out. Let me move that over here into a bowl. And you can make these ahead as well. You can freeze them. You can make them way ahead and put them in the freezer. Then all you've got to do the day of the party or the dinner.
That's why my twice-baked potatoes never work out. Because,
Why is that?
Well, I always like slice them down the middle. And then
You can do it that way,
but
but
that
they
looks
don't
so much
hold up.
better.
They don't hold up
it
as
looks
well.
like a little potato canoe. You know, that's so cool.
All right, now I'm going to let you do the mashing as
All
well.
right.
I like to use an old-fashioned potato masher.
Okay.
Add about a tablespoon of sour cream, about a tablespoon of butter, and about a tablespoon of milk per potato, depending on how you like them. But they need to be kind of stiff so they stand up in the little potato boat here.
How's that?
That's good. A little bit of milk.
All right.
Okay, salt and pepper. Let me just do that. A little bit of salt and pepper in there. And then we're going to stuff it. It looks pretty good there, Ray.
Good? Oh, gotta get that butter in there. Mix that butter up. All right.
All right, then you're just going to stuff it back in the potato skin. And like I said, you want it to kind of stand up a little bit. I usually bake one more potato than I need so I can use the extra for the top. All right, and at this point, like I said, you can freeze these, put them in the fridge a couple days ahead.
And reheat them.
And then reheat them, and you don't have to worry about your potato not getting done. Top it with cheese.
What about reheating procedure?
350 for 20, 30 minutes.
Okay.
Put a little cheese on there, and you have a twice baked potato. It goes
at
very
that.
well with our meat. And then I usually serve a green with it,
Okay.
cream spinach. This happens to be kale that has bacon in it and has apple cider in it.
Nice.
And that recipe, all of these will be on your website.
That's right.
And serve that with a roll and a dessert, and you've got your Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever
That's
meal.
awesome, Marcia. And like Marcia said, yeah, you can find all these recipes by logging on to gfb.org/recipes. As we say, everything is there in detail for you, pictures, real simple to follow. Folks, we want to wish you an early Merry Christmas. Early
Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas
Early
to
Merry
you. Thank you so
Christmas,
much,
Ray.
Marcia. And we will see you next month.
Wow, prime rib looks delicious. Ray, Marcia, thanks so much as always. For the past 2 weeks, we've introduced you to the finalists for the Georgia Farm Bureau's 2014 Young Farmer Achievement Award. Today, we wrap up our series of profiles with a visit to Jefferson County, Georgia, where we spent the day with the Rogers family.
Our story is we're first generation farmers. My dad didn't farm, my granddad didn't farm. We've just been fortunate and blessed. I mean, my parents and Lori's parents both have taught us the basics. You know, we learned responsibility and work ethics and everything it takes to do what we do. But I'd say the passion for agriculture just come from being around it, you know.
Being able to do everything together, we work as a team. We check irrigation together, we pick cotton together, we combine together, we plant vegetables together, and just instilling that in our son and showing him the importance of what we do. Not only what his daddy, spends so many hours working, but also how we live every day.
It's fulfilling to know that one day my son will have the opportunity to do what I do. You know, it's encouraging to see his enthusiasm. He rides combines with me and tractors with me, and he talks. He knows certain tractor models and stuff that some adults don't know. You know, so it's encouraging to see his interest and enthusiasm in it for sure. We farm around 1,100 acres. Primarily, most of it's irrigated. We grow cotton, corn, peanuts, soybeans. We grew canola this year for the first time. We also have, just this year, embarked on this new journey of opening up the market here, and also having you pick strawberries and blueberries, seasonal produce, and also this fall we've began to open up for our corn maze and pumpkin patch and all the activities that we have that go along with that too. So we always think about diversity, you know, not having all our eggs in one basket. We think it's real important that you know, that we stay diversified to keep our opportunities, you know, open in the future.
From a little girl, I've always wanted to be, number one, a mom, and number two, a teacher. So with Caleb, we kind of teach him what we do every day as far as farming, gardening, vegetables, and as teaching him, we realized having students out to our farm just for 4-H and other trips that even though we're a rural community, farming is not knowledgeable to every family. So with this, we've decided to extend my gardening. Caleb's here with me, so I'm still being a mom. And then we're also teaching, you know, the community, all the children. They come out here, they have a wonderful time, they play, and they learn at the same time.
All right, time for another quick break, but here's a question first. Would you give up $37 million to be a farmer, especially if you didn't know anything about farming? Jason Brown did. His story when the Georgia Farm Monitor continues.
All right, we are back. Say hello to Jason Brown, a North Carolina row crop producer who walked away from millions to pursue his dream of becoming a farmer. That's right, millions. You see, at one time, Jason was the highest paid center in the National Football League with a 5-year, $37.5 million contract, but he gave it all up and learned how to farm by watching YouTube videos. Well, nowadays, Jason grows sweet potatoes and other vegetables and donates a portion of his harvest to food pantries.
My agent, he told me, he said, "You're making the biggest mistake of your life." And I looked right back at him. I said, "No, I am not. No, I am not." When you see them pop up out of the ground, man, it's the most beautiful thing that you could ever see. Love is the most wonderful currency that you can give anyone.
In our continuing look at how one Georgia crop shapes so much of our existence, we see how cotton is truly woven into the lives of one couple. Recently, I had the opportunity to meet Michael and Cheryl White, who says cotton is definitely the fabric of their lives.
If you've ever heard of Penfield, it's probably because it was the location of Mercer University's original campus, first established in 1833. Penfield is where the school's namesake is buried, Jesse Mercer, and just across the road is the shop that belongs to Michael and Cheryl White. That's where Cheryl spends most of her spare time weaving.
Most of my friends, close ones at least, are either weavers or spinners. So it's people that share a like interest.
Originally from England, Cheryl's love of weaving is apparent in what she calls a piece of art. She told me her creations are functional as well as fun.
It's basically a cape, but it's based on a South American garment called a ruana, which is basically a large piece of fabric that's split up the front. I'll take this off. I have added the embellishment of a hood to make it a little bit more wearable. And this is my old favorite. I've worn this many years, and I have another one.
For 30-plus years, Cheryl has been weaving and said it all started after visiting the Amish country.
When I was about 11, I went to the Amish country and watched a woman weaving gingham on a great big colonial barn loom. And I knew then that I wanted to weave. And after that, I played around with the potholder looms and the small things that you can make. But I didn't actually weave until we came to Athens, and Michael brought me a loom for a wedding present, and I took classes.
And as far as her husband Michael, he enjoys being involved with cotton and yarns.
The University of Georgia found me, so I maintain the make-home looms at the University of Georgia. I do it for free. They buy yarn for me, and I adjust their looms for them.
And if you're looking to learn to hand weave, Cheryl is always looking for students that appreciate the craft and loves the source of where her fabrics originate.
And when I worked in Madison, it was great to be in Morgan County and know that there was all that cotton going into Bostwick. Going down to Swift Spinning and seeing the cotton that's coming in from, the farms, and it's stamped on it and it came from Tift County. It's terrific to see cotton that's actually made and grown in this country again.
Now, if you'd like to find out more about Cheryl's weaving and how she combines a variety of fibers with traditional motifs, or how to buy her timeless apparel and handsome household pieces, visit her website, handweaver.us.
Very nice job, Mr. Burgundy. Great stuff. That's going to do it for this week's edition of the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Now, here's a reminder for all the latest ag info regarding food, great recipes, and what's happening down on the farm. Be sure and check out our Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest pages. You'll stay informed and see what's up in the world of farming and the Farm Monitor Show.
Take care, everybody. We will see you next week right here on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
And as always, have a great week.